again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday's Talking Town. It might be a shorter show than we've ever done before this evening. Obviously, no midweek game this week. Bracknell coming up. I will ask the contributors their thoughts on the fixture against Bracknell and what we think we should expect, but a resounding possibly win is going to be the response I get back. I don't know. We'll look to unpack that through the course of the next insert time here, but welcome one, welcome all. Do hit the like button, do subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, and what I would like to know is obviously FA Cup first round weekend is here. That's what we're talking about a little bit tonight. Are you going to a game? Well, obviously it's Monday evening, so are you seeing an FA Cup first rounder? Nick's going to Barnet versus Chelmsford. I'm going to guess that's an FA Cup game because I don't actually know. They might be in the same division. My football knowledge outside of Ipswich Town is limited, particularly downwards, not upwards. But yeah, do let us know if you're going to an FA Cup. Are you a football fan that perhaps follows a certain number around? So whatever number it comes out of the draw, that's the team you'll follow. Then the winner, excuse me. There you go. But the winner stays on. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Apologies for the cough. You may get that through the course of the evening. Gov wasn't well on Monday, and Gov's still not well. Just sitting there. But we battle on here at Talking Town. Good evening, AD. I hope you are well. Colin, Bracknell, here we come. Good evening, Anthony Steele. ITV4 for Lee Brown and for me. Matchday ticket will be live. Philip Blundell. Did anyone hear the good news earlier? Good news. Is that regards to the young player signing his contract? If not, do let us know in the comments. Good news. Right, let's kick things off with, first of all, hit the join button. Come a Talking Town fifth stand-up. But joining me, as always, he hasn't got an intro yet, but he's keep calm and carry on, Mr. Richard Chandler. Richard, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You? I know you're not.
I'm okay. I'm not, as long as I don't talk in long sentences, but I'm not too bad. You told me earlier you were watching some of our archive stuff.
Yeah, because I obviously only start. Well, for anyone that doesn't know, I only started really watching Talking Town middle of the summer, like getting towards the beginning of the season.
Where were you? Where you been?
I was kind of trying to reach out for any kind of channel stuff, to be honest, because I'd kind of had enough of running out of stuff to watch and listen to do with Ipswich. And so I've kind of been doing some bits and pieces of admin through the day today, and then in between that, watching really old stuff. So I've watched some stuff with the journalist that her name's gone again from my head right in the middle of saying it, Kate Riley, from all the way back there. And I watched a really good Time Machine one earlier on that I thought was really good, and I'd like to see more Time Machine ones, I have to say.
Coxie certainly would as well. And they are in the pipeline. They are in the pipeline. That's all I'm going to say at this point. My diary is chocker, but they are in the pipeline. Hey, I'm a busy man. I mean, I've got my I take the commitment of creating content very seriously. Hence, you can tell probably through the course of the evening. But well, if you're going to support me, albeit $4.99 or whatever it is, I take creating content very seriously and want to give you something back in return. But yeah, my diary only stretches so many hours of the day. I have got to sleep at some point. But what would you say to anybody watching whether live or on catch up that perhaps has been like you, trying to find something or just dipping their toes in?
I think personally, one of the things that I really love is the fact that anyone can have a voice, anyone can get heard, whether they're coughing or not. I'm really concerned about you now.
Don't worry about me, son.
And the fact that you can actually have a debate, because too many of the other podcasts and channels that relate to Ipswich are 2 or 3 people's voices, and that's it. And that's very different, I think.
Hang on, I just need my trusty old button here. And it is. Views are their own and not of the network. I will just quickly slam that on there. My good old button. People love my button when it comes out. It's a source of many amusements, Richard. But thank you for the kind words there. Yes, we are a fan platform. That is the idea behind the thinking. And before we came live, Darren Bent, you know him, X-Town, Talk Sport now? Yes, Talk Sport. He asked the question. Simple question. Would you rather the club you support win the Premier League or a major competition? Or England win the World Cup? I'll ask you, and then I'll ask Francine what she comes in.
I personally would rather we won a competition. I'd love England to win a World Cup. However, nothing will surpass being at Wembley, seeing us win the playoff final. And in my era, that and seeing us get promoted as champions of Division 2 back in '92 are the only times I've seen us live, because I'm a little bit too young to have watched '81. I'm not really.
No, I'm joking. I'm teasing. I couldn't resist.
I didn't get to go until, unfortunately, the following season was the first time that I started going. So in 40 years of watching, I've seen us lift a trophy twice. Other than the nerves of the day of the playoff final, seeing us lift the playoff final trophy and seeing how we played in the playoff final were amazing. So
I have to say, I'm laughing because if you're going to come late to a party by a season, you've missed one of the greatest seasons we've ever had. There's late to the party, then it's just literally.
yeah.
9 months earlier, your parents, 12 months earlier, your parents, you could have been, the right times to see the right team. Unlucky. Unlucky is the word there, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But yeah, so would you rather? You would rather Ipswich, of course, but would you rather your club you support win Premier League or a major competition? Francine, welcome back to the platform. How are you, first of all?
Hello, I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. You're obviously going to be doing better than me. Thank you for being with us. It's really appreciative you joining us. What would you rather? Town win the Premier League or a major competition, or England winning a World Cup?
Ipswich all day long. I watch England. I enjoy supporting us. However, club over country any day for me.
Yeah, I think looking at the replies of the tweet, in the comments, you two this evening, I think everyone is kind of the same. That's from various fans of various clubs. Everyone wants their club to be the best and win the Premier League, and England is very much a second thought, isn't it? It's I'm not. Are you excited for the World Cup, either of you? I mean, I keep forgetting it's happening. Honestly, I keep forgetting it's happening.
No, well, obviously I've got major issues.
Of course, as we all have. And we all have the human rights and everything else.
Yeah, and I will be doing my best to not watch it out of principle. Unlikely to be able to fully go through with it because it'll be on every channel and everything. But no, I'm not. And the England performances leading up to the World Cup haven't been anything to get excited about either. So
tad kind that, to be fair, they were diabolically rubbish until the last 10 minutes of the Germany game, and then suddenly everything came to life. The last time we were on was Monday evening. There was a game Monday involving a promotion rival, of which thank you very much, David. €10. That's made coughing my guts up absolutely worth it. So thank you very much. We got Plymouth winning their game against Exeter in a derby, they tell me. So they sit top. We, of course, sit second. Wednesday hot on our heels. Peterborough have come from nowhere, Richard. I thought they were way, struggling outside the top six. Looked at it and I thought, what? Where the hell did they come from?
I think they've played some home games, because I'm saying that off with a little bit of jest, but I believe that their home form is ridiculously good compared to their away.
Okay.
And I might be wrong, but I think they've had a few home games in this run of loads of fixtures in October. I've put keep calm and carry on because I was far from that on Saturday, as Cruncher will testify, because he was about 2 rows in front of me when I was going mental and he was going mental at both ends of injury time.
But you're now sat here with Wednesday head, not Sunday or Monday head. So we're all. I mean, even I can now talk about the game. Francine, how long did it take you to talk about the game? Because I was still feeling it outside of a show format, Monday really difficult. Were you able to talk about it quite freely afterwards, or were you same as myself? And
I
feeling
had
it
a
quite
good
bad?
rant about it at my mum.
Poor mum.
Who doesn't like football. So I brought. It's hard. I didn't go. I think it'd be worse if I was there. I was
Thanks.
following along on. Because if you're there, you've got all the like emotions that come with being there. As I had it coming up on final score, and in group chats and things. So it still beggars belief, I think. Just gotta hope it never happens again.
Well, yes, sadly, we've got a little bit of history forming with Leeds and capitulations. But
Yeah.
there's your league table in front of you, Francine. What are your thoughts when you look at that? I saw somebody post a comparison to last year's league table around the same sort of time. And anyway, the top six more or less was the top six at the end of the season. Does that give you more confidence? Are you confident looking at this? Are you feel it's going to be a top 6 year regardless? What are your thoughts as you look at that league table?
I think it will be a top 6 year regardless. I think if we want top 2, we need to not keep dropping 2-goal leads because and if we finish in the playoffs, I don't currently have faith that we'd see it through on the big game. But I think the table, the top 3 kind of writes itself.
But how do we fall in that top 3? You say it writes itself. Where's your heart and your head agreeing we fall in that top 3?
I think we'll finish top 2. I don't think, but I'm not entirely sure if we'll win the league.
I'll take that. It's promotion.
Yeah, I think McKenna's got enough about him to get us to top 2, just about. It'll be tough, and I think it all comes down to January. But I think we will pull it off. I'm hoping. I can't do playoffs.
This is it. But the Fishermen, Richard, giving the goals away like we are, we playoffs at best. What do you say to that? Because you were sort of nodding your head, thinking you were going to be a top 6. So what do you say to the Fishermen?
I was shaking my head when I saw that comment come up because I think that's a ridiculous statement after this number of games, and we're currently
opinion, not a person.
Yeah, I think it's a ridiculous statement. I'm not attacking Mike. I like Mike. We don't necessarily agree footballing wise. Ish. No, I'm only joking. I genuinely, I don't agree with everything he says, and he knows that. But I think that they're League One, and they're League One. Every team is League One, and their players in League One for a reason. And Plymouth were top, similar kind of number of points, as maybe a few points less than they are this season, and they didn't even make it to get promoted. We will finish above them because they've played everyone at home. They haven't played anyone away yet.
Okay. Well. Okay. So you mean anybody in the top 6?
In the big teams, what I would call the big teams in the top 6, 7. They've only played one of those away.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, it's still early days. Well, I say early days. It's 17 games in now. We're starting to rumble towards Christmas, and as that dreaded C word, where it starts to get a little bit more serious, and the games start to pick up thick and fast after November. Be interesting to see where it shakes out. The Fisherman talking carp, says Graham Tate. Tell me why, Graham. Tell me why. Louis Fenton, if Plymouth lose all their loan players, Whittaker, Mwamba, etc. I reckon Mark Ashton's going to be playing 3D chess, Francine. Any loan player that we can buy, we'll be buying just to make them weaker.
I don't know. I think they potentially. I think that's depends on how good their manager and their sales. If they've got director of football and things are, because if they've managed to get those loans without a recall clause in, because then they'll be fine. I think.
Very good point.
They can still be sold, though. I still think they're going to really struggle to keep Whittaker.
I think Mumba will go back. Just looking at what I see on, because whenever that lot up the road,
They're playing
lose,
tonight, by the way.
yeah. Whenever they lose, I like to have a good look at, just have a laugh because they are obviously having a bit of a meltdown this season. Anytime they don't win, but it does sound like left back is an issue for them, or left wing. But so I wonder whether they'll lose Mumba, and that's obviously he's been a big player for them. So it might be that they lose one or two. I've just seen like their manager. I think if he goes, they'll fall apart. There's only so many seasons they can keep replacing their manager with their assistant and still keep up their good form. So
good point. Yeah, you can only so many bumps in the road before you eventually get derailed by one. But if you're going to finish anywhere in that three-team league, as Francine detailed, and anywhere in the top two will do me. I ain't bothered about winning League One, which we all call Poxy coming into it. Just get me back out of it. It's a bit like that I'm a Celebrity gif where get me out of here. Knew I could do it. Like literally, I've got that lined up ready to go on promotion day. I can't wait to get out of this division. Full stop. Don't care how it happens, but yeah, I'm with you, Francine. I'd rather avoid the dreaded P word that starts with a P and ends in S double. But it's just not us, Richard. It's we've got history, the wrong sort of history, apart from one encounter.
How many times can you lose in the playoff semi-finals?
We'll find many ways. And how many ways can you lose? How many times? How many ways? Own goals, away goals.
Red card penalties.
Oh, yeah. Keep us slipping. We kind of experienced it all. But one thing we might not have to experience, well, we probably still will. That's just the way it goes. But Portman Road developments. There have been a number of developments announced recently. We've got a new playing service, one of the best in Europe. Eradication of Sir Ralph Ramsey fully automated turnstiles. Get us. And undersoil heating. What do you think of those improvements, Francine? Exciting stuff.
The pitch side is the side I'm more excited about because we have got we used to have a reputation for a great pitch, and then in recent years it's got to less on League One because you look at the state of other grounds, pitches, and think, oh dear. But generally we tend to have a good pitch. So I think that's good to know that we're going to carry that on. I have no opinion particularly about automated turnstiles. It's a shame because it's the same with shops. I like being able to people over, but technology is the way forward, unfortunately.
It's true.
Some clubs have been doing it for years. I think Derby do it. Just trying to think back to away games I've gone to over the years. Quite a few grounds have been doing it for a while, so it was coming.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember little books with tear out slips in it. That was great though. Really, to be fair. Rich, you must remember those.
Yeah. My first season tickets for the Churchmans were tear out book, hand the book over, and they'd take out whatever Matchday ticket number it was.
Yeah, they were the days, mate. They were the halcyon day. You're not going to get better than that. But they're one of the best pitches in Europe, Richard. That's a surface fit for any team, particularly one it's playing Accrington Stanley.
Yeah, but it won't be playing Accrington Stanley, will it?
Oh,
it'll be playing Norwich because Norwich aren't getting promoted, and then
you
Norwich
ain't sold it much better, Rich.
Oh.
Yeah, but we'll be beating Norwich in front
That's
of
true.
in front of 29,000 people, with all the atmosphere that we can have in the fan zone before, because the fan zone's way better than it ever has been. I can't wait for that day, and Norwich will be in the crap by then because financially they need to get promoted. They have to sustain. I can't even speak. To sustain what they want to do, they have to get promoted every season that they're in the Championship.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't got the money.
I've seen that going around, that they have to get promoted this season, or they'll have to sell a lot of players. If they've got many left that are actually able to be sold.
To be fair, they've got an awful lot of loan players out there worth a bit of money.
I think their concern is that the way they're going this season, players are dropping in value. So
sounds so good.
And then they struggle. We go in the Championship with loads of investment, and we don't struggle in the Championship, and then laugh at all of them when they get relegated.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we've got to get there first. Matchday, I'm not sure automated turnstiles are as efficient as people until they go more oyster style. Fair enough. It's called modernisation, says Stephen Parry. Benjamin Michael. Turnstiles now at South Down are a joke. Stood there for 30 minutes to get in. One little man, poor guy, reading every ticket before entry, nearly missed the game. Automate the bastard, says Benjamin Michael. Louis,
I think that is a thing. Like, maybe the automated turnstiles will help the club and the ground cope with the larger crowds, because it's been a long time since we've regularly had 25,000 plus every game, and this is one of the the way that the turnstiles are laid out, because obviously we're back onto Portman Road, then it's difficult to manage. I wonder whether knocking them down and going automated and using that land that we've bought will help with those things.
Yeah, we're selling more tickets and getting more people through the door on time.
Yeah.
I do hate that about Pack Up PR. When you see the cobble stand, it's like, flipping heck, how many people are await here, and to line up.
It's not just on Pack Out Portman Road games anymore. It's a regular thing.
Look at us! Look, prices are being quite good again. It's quite a rarity.
Good in League One as well, which is bonkers.
I know. Somewhere in northern, in deepest, darkest Chelmsford is Matt Phillips crying about these paper ticket fans. We need automated turnstiles right this minute. But what development would you like to see? Let you play fantasy developer right here, right now. You can have anything you want. It can be as simple as something, or as elaborate as something. What is the one development you would like to see next, Mr. Chandler?
This is going to sound like it's a dig at one particular person, but it's not. I would replace the PA announcer and swap him with the guy that does the fan zone, because outside in the fan zone, he builds up a great atmosphere. That Dave or Steve Van, is it? I can't remember his name. I think you were interviewed by him the other week. But I'm not bothered about his name. In reality, he gets the people going in the crowd in the fan zone, and then you go in and it's like listening to hospital radio.
I mean, sorry, I was dying there. That's why it was a delay. I wasn't just letting you sink. Yeah. Oh, all right, fair enough. You would like to give that. Emerson says, bring back Rob Chandler. I'm a massive fan of Rob Chandler. Massive fan.
I obviously am. Namesake, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, perhaps you could do it. Are you free on Saturday afternoons? You put a
I don't think anyone want to listen to me doing it.
Well, after Charlton, I don't know. Apparently, we perhaps we might. I do not know. Francine, what would yours be?
Me and my dad were having this conversation about developments when he drove me back to Colchester the other day. I think we need to look at expanding. I'm going big because I think we're getting, so I just said 25,000+ in League One. If we get promoted, you've got clubs bringing better away attendances. You're not going to be having 100 away fans. You're going to be having 500+ from every club, closer to 1,000. It's going to be more difficult to get tickets. Now, as season ticket holders, for me, doesn't really affect me. I'll be there regardless. But there'll be fans who want to go who can't go.
I'm a
And
season holder. I'll be there. I'll be there regardless. He says, I'm thinking about you.
No, I just think that we need to be able to maximise the money. And I think you do look at it's been commented by a few people, the Cobbold, the stand that my dad tells me hasn't been touched for a very long time.
Don't you go touching it either.
I'm not saying knock it down or anything. I'm just saying maybe you could use that stand and make it bigger, change it slightly to increase the capacity.
I think knock it down. Sorry, Gov.
I think it's perfect as it is. Tradition lies there, but no, I do think I think you're right, Francine. Expansion at some point certainly has to come. The Cobble stand is a very old stand. I'm amazed it passes any safety certificate test.
I was told nothing's been happened to it in a very long time because there were seats there before my dad started to go watch. So, while all the other 3 stands have been modernised, that's the one that hasn't been. So you could modernise that in a way that doesn't affect the road behind it.
Which I think, by the way, has been cut off. And I think, is that a forward step? Is that a part of? Is it the start of the journey in that road? Then being, in 30 years' time, us telling our kids, our grandkids, our family members, used to be a road there. Really? What? Where stand sits? Yeah, used to be a road there because they're not using it. Like there was an ambulance at the last home game. Wanted to go down that road. No in chance with 2 big planters in the way. So it's a redundant space. And there's obviously a few issues in terms of the flats at the end, but something could be done. If you had big enough pockets and big enough dreams. So maybe I would just like a walk-in shop. Like at half time. You walk in, you get a bottle of water off the shelf. You walk out, it scans it automatically. It just takes it. It charges your team card. If you haven't, you have your team card set up with a card attached to it. Bish bash bosh. None of this balls about queuing up for 4 hours to get a £4.50 bottle of water. It does my head in.
Oh, I don't even attempt to queue.
They've fitted water fillers though, haven't they? I saw somewhere.
Oh, you can't get near. I mean, Cobblestone has its space limitations, Richard. Particularly at half time. Let's be honest, excuse me, 400 people. I want to fill my water bottle up. Doesn't quite work.
That's something that still needs to be looked at as well, though. The system at half time, because it is.
It's got worse, Francine.
I don't even have to bother anymore. I used to go down and get my dad his coffee at half time, and I just don't bother. I just sit there and go, yeah, no point, because I'll be queuing there for 15 minutes to not get close to the front.
It's true. It really is true. It's a nightmare. I have to get like my drinks lined up before the game because I just won't go downstairs at half time. It's a night. It is a nonsense. The Amazon stand is what we could call it. Says Matt Stannard. I like that. The Amazon stand.
If you did develop that stand, you could then move the away fans to the other end. So
no need. No need. I don't
understand
that argument. Yeah, I have got a vested interest in that. I will declare that here and now. But I don't see the need to have somebody sat closer to you to make more noise. It's just like I don't have to.
The atmosphere would be improved if the North Stand wasn't built in the way it is. It's not been built for acoustic. It's not got good acoustics. Which is why we can be chanting all game, and the away fans will be like, "Oh, you're so quiet." It's like, well, we can't hear you. You can't hear us. So I don't think moving them would help. I think potentially could cause more problems. If you just think there's been issues this season with the fans down the end they have at the end of the game, move them closer, is that going to only
That's poor
increase?
policing and stewarding, though, isn't it? Because they could just keep them in for 10 minutes and then it's clearer, or let them out first and then.
But I'm yet to be sold on the actual benefit of the move. That's the thing. Like, taking my vested interest out of it. Like, what's stopping somebody from making noise is not having a moron opposite them drunk giving them signs like that really.
I think, yeah, but then you've got, because there's, are you saying that the morons giving them signs are the ones in the SBR or the ones in the away?
You can form your own opinion on where the morons are. I'm not. I am fussed where you think the morons might be, but no, I'm talking about the away fans. Like I'm talking about 16 stone Dagenham Dave coming down from Millwall away. I don't need him, sat in my face giving it all that to make noise for my team. So I struggle to see where what you're gaining by moving the away fans closer to you, other than just I'm not sold on it. Sell me on it.
Well, it was about the atmosphere and the noise for me, but I do think there's an element of what Francine said is right in the design of North Stand and of Sir Alf Ramsey actually are both not designed for acoustics. Back when I was stood in Churchman's in the 80s, we'd only get 16, 17,000 for what was First Division football back then. Even 20,000 was a big crowd, and it was a lot noisier than it is now when there's 27,000 in there.
It's because the roof, they've built the roof upwards.
If they had done,
I don't think the 2-tier thing, if we'd have had like a cop type thing, one side, and I know with the roof, and they'd have found a way to make the roof work going down, then atmosphere would be so much better, because all the noise would be funneled downwards rather than out.
So when you're expanding, maybe just completely flattening and rebuilding. I don't know. I'll leave that out for you to think about.
No, because where would we go?
Or maybe you were relocating. Maybe you're, as Mike Brown said in the chat, Playford Road. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm giving you.
I don't. Something I want. The only thing I'd want to happen, Playford Road, or building wise, potential Playford Road, is investing in the women's team, building an academy type stadium like the Man City have.
Oh, I like that.
Because I was saying
games as well. I like that.
Because you've got under 23 games to play there. Ipswich women's team, they can't stay at Felixstowe forever. But you don't want to put them at Portman Road. However nice it would be to have them at Portman Road, you'd have maximum 1,000, 2,000 there week in, week. Sometimes you might get more, but generally you're not going to get. It's going to be a pizza trophy game. And for them, that's going to take the hostility and everything, playing at home away. So I'd build them something like Man City have, and then you could play the under 23s game there as well.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Some pre-season games as well to keep the people off the grass. Allow it time to be the best grass in Europe. It's a very, very, very good idea. Away from the developments, goal of the month. The choices were Edwards versus Cambridge, Ladapo versus Vale, Humphreys versus Vale, and Ladapo versus Charlton. I'm sure you both know which one was eventually awarded the goal of the month. It was, of course, Carl Edwards at Cambridge. Do you agree with it? Is that your vote? Is that your shout? Or did you feel another one of the four should have won it? Francine, you can start to that one.
I know he didn't. I didn't mean it, but I don't think there's much argument for me anyway about that. I think potentially Humphreys had a shout, and the team goal of Ladapo Vale one potentially. But if you look, I'd have gone for Edwards.
The fluky one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fluke, but it was still a great goal, and he's tried it before, his audacious shot. So was it a fluke, or did he actually mean it? And he was so surprised it went off that he went all a bit coy about it. But no, that one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Stillwell away loved the shout about the academy style stadium at Playford Road, Francine. As they've moved their League Cup tie against hashtag this weekend to the away ground because Gold Start is unavailable. So yeah, good shout. I think unanimous. Everyone is absolutely loving that idea. Get it in right into Mark Ashton quickly and get your copyright claim on it. Richard, how about you? So Francine's agreeing with Eduardo, the winner. Are you?
I voted for it. That's what I voted for. I do think there's elements of every goal that's good. I think the team goal against Port Vale is what I'd like to see us scoring week in, week out in multiple times in games. But because I think the movement from various players to set it up and then the Dapo's movement before the ball's put in the box is excellent movement, and he's had his criticizers this season. But I think he's playing really. I've thought for a long while that he gives a lot to them when he wasn't scoring, and now he's giving even more by scoring. But I think Edwards has come on leaps and bounds, shown what he can do now that he's got the chance under McKenna, and that goal kind of sums it up, really.
Yeah. And still says Eduardo's was a fluke hit, but Cameron Humphreys was the best goal in his opinion. You mentioned Ladapo there, Rich, and what he's bringing to the team now. Would he have got your player of the month? Obviously, Davis won the player of the month competition. The man that can do no wrong at the moment. He's now back on Twitter as well, if you want to go and follow him. But Leif Davis was winning it. The other candidates were Wesley Burns, The Fridge, and Freddie Ladapo. Would Ladapo have got your shout there, Rich, or would you have gone with somebody else, possibly the winner? I don't know.
I went for Davis, but I do think it was probably, I don't know what the voting percentages were like, but it was a decision between the three. I wouldn't have given it to Edmondson personally. I think he's been good since he came back in, but I wouldn't have been at all surprised if any of the other three had have got it. I don't get the criticism that Wes Burns hasn't had a good season so far. I just don't buy that. The stats don't add up to that either. And the same with Ladapo. Ladapo's played really well this month, last month rather, in October. But I think Davis is the best left back we've had for a long, long time.
Yeah. Rich told me Miles Kent was playing for Barrow last night. I mean, we've come a fair old way in that time. Francine, who got your vote, or who would get your vote?
I think probably Ladapo. He's begun to score the goals this last month. And I was one of the people who was sticking by him. Wasn't out thinking we need to get a new striker, because his movement off the ball before he started scoring was what was helping Chaplin and Harness score goals. And we're now seeing his finishing touch, and that he can deliver the goals as well as all the other things he can bring. So for me, it would have been Ladapo, but Davis equally, it does deserve it. He's incredible left back. I think it's a crazy thing. I know he's injured at the moment, but to have Greg Lee as backup to something gone from having no good, decent left backs last season to having two you would quite happily have as first choice.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's been our weak link for ages. We've had Garbert, we've had Ken Locke, Stephen Ward.
Halcyon days they were, Francine.
And now we've got two players who, if he was fit and Davis needed a break, you wouldn't mind seeing Greg Lee come in and play there, which I think says a lot. So Yeah, for me, Davis is a great player, and I think I would have given it to Ladapo purely for the fact that he's beginning to bring the goals.
Love it. Love it. So you'd have gone Ladapo, but sadly he didn't get it. It was Davis. I don't know. It was a tough one. It wouldn't mean Burns or Fridge for me. It would have been either Ladapo or Davis. So I can see why you both sort of split that vote, Francine. And Davis is very much the, you can do no wrong, can he? Excuse me. Right, jukebox time. Talking Town, Spotify, jukebox, song entrant from you both. Richard, what is yours and why?
Mine's because it's to do with Monday's game, and that I think it's genuinely a completely no-win situation, because we go and stuff them. It'll be everyone saying, "Oh, that's what we should do," because we don't beat them by loads. We should beat them by more. We struggle at all because he's made 15 changes of the squad of 18 or whatever it is, and it will be criticisms left, right, and centre. So because of that, I've gone with "Don't Like Mondays" by the Boomtown Rats.
I like it. Okay. Francine, what is yours and why?
I don't particularly have a reason other than the fact that it's just such a song that I really like. Mr. Blue Sky. So it's a song that's on my pre-football match playlist. So that's my choice, just because I like it.
I like it. I like it. That has been put to the live audience with a poll. Currently, 67% think Francine's Mr. Blue Sky should win it. It's a good song, to be fair. It's a great club classic. You can be in a nightclub, slightly too many drinks down, and you hear that opening chord, and it's like a beacon to the dance floor. You're being dragged by it, aren't you, Richard?
I think it's a really good song, and I'm about to vote for it. Because I love that song.
And to be fair, if you vote for it and you lose, you can say, "Well, I did vote for the winner." So yeah, you're covering yourself there. Bracknell, then, as Richard just said, if we don't win by a lot, people are going to question why. If we don't win at all, it's almost a highway to nothing. Francine, what are your thoughts heading into it? Is it a win? Is it a big win? How are you going to approach it if you were McKenna?
We take it seriously. There's been a lot of chat about needing to give players a rest and focus on the league, but guarantee if we make loads of changes, play the youth players, which has been suggested, play the youth players and lose, those same people will be moaning, why don't we take the cup seriously? And I think we have to go for it. We don't want to be embarrassed on TV again. We had Lincoln last year, Barrow. I didn't watch Barrow last year. I was on a date that didn't go to anywhere. So, and she didn't like it. Wasn't an Ipswich fan. So, luckily I didn't have to watch that. But we can't lose on TV again. I think we do make changes, but we've still put out a strong side, and I do think we'll win. So, but I'm hesitant to say it will be a big win because
I'll ask you for the score in a second, so you can think on it just a little bit longer. You're hesitant to be say it's a big win. I feel the chat will be maybe in disagreement. I don't know. Barrow may have now be ringing in their minds because you brought it up. It's like, oh God, don't mention Barrow. No, God, no, don't go back there again. Many people on Monday, or many people, of course, it's Saturday, Richard, have said, stick the first 11 out there, play them again, get them playing for various reasons. Would you sign yourself up to that way of thinking?
No, not at all. I would make quite a lot of changes, and I'm completely in the point of view of that I don't want to see us do a Barrow and play as badly as we did that night and get beat. but I really could care less what the score is, because the key thing for me is we've had some quite serious injuries this season, and touch wood, at the moment we're still sitting second in the league. Let's concentrate on this bloody league and get out of this league, and concentrate on winning the Papa Johns if you want to win something, because we're not going to win the FA Cup anyway.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. I just don't want us. I'm with you on the changes. I think, like of Davis, he needs a break. Yes, he's been really good the last month, but he's a young player, and you know, his first season playing week in, week out. He started the season, he had Greg Lee coming in from him off the bench. Now he's having to keep going. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he needs a break. Burns probably needs a bit of a rest as well. Danassian, he needs, and I love Danassian, but he maybe needs a break as well. So I think we do need to make a few changes just to give those players that bit of time to rest, so we can focus on the league. So I'm going to go 3-0.
Okay.
3-0.
That's a comfortable win in anyone's book, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but I know some. I'm not expecting.
18-0.
No, not for anything like that. So yeah, I think it will be a strong side, but a much changed side, giving players who need it rest, but also giving those who need to get themselves back from injury or back to fitness a go. Like Lee Brown said, similar team to what we put out in the Pizza Cup. So
would you play any first team players, Richard? Pizza Cup teams feature a few. Would you play any, or would you say, do you know what, just use November as almost a winter break?
In the team that I sent you earlier, I've put that I'd play Keogh to give him experience of playing our systems, more minutes on the pitch, because I personally think he looks class, and I know he's got loads of criticism, but he is a Championship/Premier League defender. He's getting on a bit, but he is a Championship Premier League defender.
He brings so much calm to our defence when he played in those Pizza. And I know they were against. You can say, "Oh, look at who they're against," but the way that the calmness he brings to that back four or back whatever formation. I've changed formation from what McKenna's been playing recently. But he brings so much calmness to that defence. So I would 100% agree that Keogh needs to be in there for the weekend.
And I'd put Burgess in alongside him to get him minutes in a game where they're probably not, let's be honest, you wouldn't expect them to be as physical as a League One side is going to be. And that's a way of him getting back into the physicality of first team football. But I think that I would play KVY to get him some minutes because he's just come back from injury. I'd bring Kamara on or play him depending where he is at. I'd probably play Humphreys as one of the more senior players to show what he can do in a game like this. One of the more senior players, and he's 19?
From league debut to senior players. It's a fast old one, isn't it? Life comes at you fast, really. But no, I agree with that. I really do. Damage man, start most of our first team bench, meeting some youngsters for some game time. Score then, Richard.
I think that we probably have a tight first half and we end up winning 4-1. And I'd quite like to see them score, to be honest. That's their day in the limelight, isn't it?
We need to score first.
Yeah.
We score first. That they can
100%.
We can be 3-4-0 up when they score, but I do get that. It'd be nice for them to have that moment. But
it's a lot of those players' biggest ever games, isn't it? You play at any level in the FA Cup when you're a non-league player, that's a big day.
Let alone getting to the first round and
on TV and
getting Ipswich.
Yeah.
And then obviously without Soundsea, we're one of the best draws they could have had.
Yeah.
You know, they could have
The
ended
best
up.
draw.
They could have ended up with Gillingham away,
Oh, fuck me.
but
God, who wants that?
They could
Can
have
you
ended up
imagine?
with Barrow. Can you imagine Bracknell
Yeah.
having to travel with Barrow?
Yeah. Oh,
and so I see
Colchester.
those who know me know I have a soft spot for Gillingham. So I'm not saying that with any disrespect to Gillingham.
No, but I am. I don't.
But they could have had a side like Gillingham or a side like Colchester, but they've got us, and without having too big-headed, you know, probably one of the best, and at home, one of the so they can be their place.
Stephen Parry's not going to be too arrogant and say we need wholesale changes, just 4 or 5. We did that last year and got Well,
I think
7-1, says Nick.
my changes, obviously, I've gone back to 3 at the back because I think our best performances at the start of the season and defensively were at 3 at the back. So I've gone to 3 at the back.
Uh-huh.
But my side received Wolfenden, Keogh, Burgess back 3. You know, that's a strong.
That's very good. Yeah, that's the League One back 3.
KVY and Jackson as our wing backs, because I know people have their doubts about Jackson as a wing back, but he's better than as a striker.
The wing back word in there wasn't really needed because, you know, people have their doubts about Jackson, full stop. Sadly, I don't.
I love Jackson.
I love his effort.
That's it. He works so hard, and he does, which is why at wing back he works better than as a striker, because at wing back he will put so much effort in up and down that wing and cross the ball in. Against Plymouth, his best bit was there. When he went up front, we lost all, everything.
Yeah.
I've got Cameron Humphreys in central midfield, and then Edwards, John Jules, and the Dapper was the 3. I don't actually know whether it's 2 10s and a striker or whether it's like a flowing thing, but that's so I've gone strong.
It's very fluid, isn't it?
Yeah, I've gone quite strong, but not the same as like starting 11 that we had at Charlton. I think only Wolfenden and John Jules survive, and Jackson, the 3 there survive Charlton. That's just to give other people a break. And my bench is younger. I have done a bench as well. It's a younger bench.
Full of youth players, give them the chance to cut their teeth.
Those players, those ones you have on the bench in the Papa Johns, so who have what they can do.
I've got a couple of those starting in my one just to test them out.
Who are you starting, Rich?
I was starting with Chiwera, is that how you say it? And Saziba and Agbaji. So the 3 that played, because Agbaji looked good.
He looked amazing, didn't he?
And I think minutes would be really useful for him.
So yeah, I can see. I wouldn't be against him playing. If you maybe drop Jackson, put KVY at left wing back, and him right wing back. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. So
good shout. Right, I love it. You've both gone for wins. You both feel we're gonna have to have enough to see it through. I'm gonna have to rest this voice because I'm literally struggling to even breathe without my lungs deciding to kick up a fuss. On the jukebox front, Francine, you have won it with 57%. So that now enters the Talking Town Jukebox on Spotify. Good shout. Good work. Thank you to the live chat for your lovely and fantastic comments. Sorry I've not read them out as often as I can. That's just because I can't get through a sentence without struggling. And we mentioned, developments at Portman Road. I want to end with this not breaking news, but this news article I saw literally as we were talking. And the headline is "Thieves Steal Entire School by Removing Everything Brick by Brick." I mean, that's a long breaking, isn't it? I mean, brick by brick. There we go. We're back Friday. with love, with care. Francine Richard Chandler. Watch out for your
You
breath.
make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, love. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, yes, love. Oh, yes, lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you.